Hello, BookTube. I have some books I want to show you today, but before I do that, I wanted briefly to address the very last thing I ever thought I would address on this channel, a controversy surrounding me. And I'm not going to address 95% of that controversy because 95% of it is mob mentality. And there's no point in addressing mob mentality. It's contemptible for that reason. And I'm not going to discuss the individual source of that mob mentality because that was just malice, and that's not worth talking about either. And I'm also not going to discuss the people who, in response to that mob mentality, took it upon themselves to make video attacks upon me, whether those attacks took the form of 12 minutes of ad hominem abuse or schoolyard mockery. I'm not saying that those attacks didn't hurt. They did, one in particular. But I'll work out the pain of that on my own. I don't need to put it on camera. But that leaves the 5% that I do want to address, and that is the thoughtful people on BookTube and beyond who may have been upset by this controversy. And to those people, I want to offer two things. First of all, a heartfelt apology. It's of course not my intent to upset anyone on this BookTube channel except by brochetting their favorite authors. And two, a piece of advice. A 10-minute BookTube video, much less a small part of a 10-minute BookTube video, much less comment on a small part of a 10-minute BookTube video, much less a single word in a comment on a small part of a BookTube video, is not grounds for calling anyone sexist. Outrage is an easy emotion specifically because it's a cheap emotion. And my advice to you is to avoid it for that reason. Now what I'd like to do is go back to talking about books and BookTube. And I guess I'll just have to see if you'll let me do that. In any case, I'm going to try, and I'm going to start with the pile of books that I got today via the mail truck. And for those of you who might be new to the channel, and even those of you who aren't going to need reminding, I wanted to remind you of the ground rule here, which is that if you see something that really gets to you, something that, isn't a whim, that you see and you can't live without, just let me know in the comments field, and I'll send it to you. So we'll start with this package. It's little, and it's always a little disconcerting to me when it looks like it's been driven over by a van, but I'm sure that isn't the case. Maybe just an angry boot here or there, and I can sympathize with that because usually I want to do that to the contents of these packages. Let's see what this is. Oh, it's from Yale. All right, that's always good. Yale is one of those reliable publishers. I think I mentioned that before. This comes out in August. What is it? All These Worlds Are Yours, The Scientific Search for Alien Life by John Willis. Where would you look for alien life? An astronomer and science popularizer explains the basics of astrobiology to outline 5 plausible scenarios for finding extraterrestrials. Oh, well, once again, a very strong start. Of course, it's a subject of interest to anybody, especially with exoplanets and Earth-like exoplanets being discovered every day. There's a wonderful YouTube series of explaining science videos. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's I think German, Ugetstatz or something like that. If I can find the link, I will. They did 2 videos on the Fermi equation and the Drake equation, the mathematical probabilities of extraterrestrial life and what they're based on. Absolutely fascinating. I myself tend to be of the suspicion that the incredible number of coincidences involved in producing technologically manipulative, self-regarding life is so staggeringly large that I don't care how many galaxies there are. I don't care how many planets there are in those galaxies, and I don't care how many of those planets are in the Goldilocks zone where such life could develop. I myself am starting to think, after a lifetime of thinking about this, and also as I think probably the only booktuber who's ever actually talked about it with Carl Sagan, I'm starting to think that it's unique, or so rare that as to be unique. Don't know how that changes things one way or another. As people have said, the fact that there's alien life really doesn't affect matters at all. This is not Independence Day, much as I wish it were. But anyway, let's go on to the next one. I promise not to give a lecture with everybody. This one is slightly bigger. What is this? Oh, fantastic. We're 2 for 2. This is Substitute by Nicholson, and he crosses it out Mr. Baker. This is his huge and extremely heartfelt account of being a substitute teacher over the years. This is... I'm not a big fan of most of what he's written, but this, I read this, an advanced copy of this. I will gladly read it again. It is just amazing. I think by a wide margin the best thing he's ever done. Good, so let's make a pile here. That's 2 for 2. What's the next one? This is from Random House. What is this? Oh, fantastic. Okay. This is Eyes on the Street, A New Life of Jane Jacobs. Some of you might not know who she is. She was an urban planner and an urban thinker of just astonishing originality and humanity. Fought the megalopolis leveling instincts of the 1960s and 70s. This is wonderful. Oh, good. So the author brings to life the irrepressible, witty, and deeply intelligent woman who wrote 7 groundbreaking books, saved neighborhoods, stopped expressways, and was arrested twice, and engaged at home and on the streets in thousands of debates, all of which she won. Oh, fantastic. All right, so that's September. A new big biography to add to a year of biographies that's turning out to be superb. All right, there's no chance that we'll get through all of these without a dud, but I can hope. So let's see what the next one is. Okay, that's no dud. This is Ben Ehrenreich, The Way to Spring, Life and Death in Palestine. This is his study of the Gaza Strip and life under Israeli occupation, and an explosive subject, but I read this in ARC, and it's done with remarkable sensitivity. Let me see. Oh, God. Okay. Well, he's got blurbs from everybody east of Eden. Let's see here. Eventually, he moved to Ramallah and started writing what would become this book. He was moved by the injustices that he witnessed and by the general silence about them in most U.S. media. As well-informed as he was on the Arab-Israeli conflict, he nonetheless was consistently shocked by what he saw and by how little the vast majority of the people in the United States understood about the lived realities of the occupation. This book is full of those lived realities. I can't help but think that it will end up being one of my favorite nonfiction works of the year. We've got a couple more here, and then we'll quit for today. Let's see what this one is. Oh. Okay, this is a novel. It's called Dear Mr. M by Herman Koch, or Koch. And it is, what do we got here? Once a celebrated writer, M had his greatest success as a suspense novel based on a real-life disappearance. It told the story of a history teacher who went missing one winter after having a brief affair with a beautiful student. The teacher was never found. Upon publication, M's novel was a runaway bestseller, one that marked his international breakthrough. That was years ago, and now M's career is fading. But not when it comes to his bizarre, seemingly timid neighbor who keeps a close eye on him and his wife. Why? From alternating points of view, Herman Koch weaves together an intricate tale of a writer in decline, a teenage couple in love, a missing teacher, and a single book that entwines all of their fates. Okay, very nice. I'm on board. All right, so that's September. This is actually a shipment without a dud so far. This is the last envelope. It's the only chance we have. It could very well be, the history of the testicle throughout history or whatever. No, it is a 100% perfect shipment. This is the Sunlight Pilgrims by Jenny Fang. And it's a thriller set in the future. I read a bit of it. I haven't read the whole book. It's November 2020. The world is bracing for the worst winter on record. As the deep freeze sets in, Dylan McRae, reeling from a series of devastating losses, leaves London and heads north to bury his mother's and grandmother's ashes on the Scottish islands of his ancestors. In the Scottish village of Clachan Fells, 12-year-old Stella and her survivalist mother, Constance, scrape together a living, surrounded by a group of kind and eccentric neighbors. in their caravan park. Stella, who until 1 year earlier was a boy named Cale, is struggling to understand her new identity while navigating a world of school bullies and her mother's tumultuous romantic life. When Dylan arrives at Clockenfels, life changes course for all three of them, and as they prepare for a rapidly changing climate, secrets that link them in unexpected ways are revealed. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure of the premise there. I think science has largely agreed that it's not going to be colder in 2020. But the author was born in Scotland, so there's bound to be great color in the rest of the book. It wasn't much at the beginning, if I remember correctly. But the beginning, the part that I read, was very well done. So I'll hope for the best, and I'll report back. So this is our day. A very good book shipment. So there you go. Let me know what you think, and also, if you want, let me know about the quality of this. I'm still trying these out on my MacBook, and thank you, BookTube. I'll see you tomorrow.